Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Colin, how are you?
All right, you, Neil. Hi, Louise.
I'm doing good, dude.
Yeah, I must tell you, it's a funny thing when I've been chilling over the last couple of days, and I thought today was Saturday. That's how far removed I've been from this reality around me.
Good place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's happy hour somewhere, my friend, all the time.
Yeah, I just sometimes love, experiencing my consciousness, and because what we are really are just fields of energy, of thoughts and emotions, and I sometimes just go in and explore, remember things from the past and then try to integrate that into my present so that I become more of a integrated person. Yeah. Hi, Dallas. How are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good.
Morning, Dallas.
Good morning, Neil.
Good morning. Hi. Colin, that's fun. That's amazing. I wanted to ask you, if you would, to discuss the individuation that is you, that is me. Can you discuss that topic with us, please?
Yeah. Individuation is what you have to understand. We're in a body of individuated consciousness, if I can call it that. So it's like each cell in your body is an individuated expression of the whole body. Okay? So although we are individuated in each little cell in the makeup of the universe as an individuated consciousness, it is still part of the whole, and it is a fractal of the whole. So the cells in our body replicate what is happening in our soul body. Okay, so the one is just an expression of the other. And each soul is just an individuated fractal of the bigger soul. And the bigger soul that we experience is Mother Earth, which is a soul being that hosts our consciousness within her fields of energy. And Mother Earth belongs to a bigger consciousness, which is the solar system, and the soul being that hosts her is the sun. And the sun is an individuated expression of a larger consciousness called the galaxy. Okay, and the soul being that hosts the individuated consciousness of the galaxies is called the central sun, the galactic sun. And that galactic sun is part of an individuated consciousness of something called the universe. And the universe is hosted by something called the universal central sun. Okay, now that universal sun is part of a bigger construct called the multiverse. Okay, and so we have many multiverses. In fact, you get 12 multiverses that are hosted by what is called, I understand it. I've been told it's called the Echo God worlds. Okay, so you get these 12 universes in a multiverse, and there are 12 multiverses that rotate around a central thing called the Echo God worlds. And that is the central God consciousness that controls everything. And so there are many multiverses, and it's all, just parts, representative parts of the whole. So each atom in our body is a part of a, 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 a quark. Well, quarks don't really exist. It's a morphogenetic field, and each morphogenetic field is part of a quantum field, and each quantum field is part of a wave field. So it's all a replicating fractal system where everything is just a fraction of the other thing, and it's an expression of the one big whole. I don't know if that helps to clarify that for you.
It did, and it was lovely how you walked us through each one. I appreciated that. And then also, with that, it seems like, you know, when you're saying this, we're teeny tiny, yet at the same time, we can access or connect with the central sun and the universe and so on and so on. And that also can be dependent upon our soul codes, correct, Colin?
Yeah. Yeah, we are in fact interacting with the fields of Mother Earth, the energy fields of Mother Earth, which is interacting with the sun. So we, in a sense, interacting with the sun through Mother Earth, because Mother Earth's energy comes from the fields, wave fields emanating from the sun, the electromagnetic wave fields that emanate from the sun, which then step down into our consciousness. So whatever you're thinking and feeling, the Mother Earth is thinking and feeling. And what Mother Earth is thinking and feeling is what the sun is thinking and feeling. And so all these soul beings in this huge thing we call the universe are all just expressions of one thing.
Yes. Colin, can you also speak on our soul codes?
Yeah, the soul codes are a geometrical form in our soul bodies. You can kind of think of it as, you know, when you were a kid and you did well at school, you got a gold star or a silver star or, you know, a white star, depending on how well you've done. Well, the soul codes are in our soul bodies are like the expression of how we've achieved, and what we've achieved in any lifetime or any incarnation. And as we evolve, we activate more soul codes in our soul bodies. And the soul codes have a corresponding field in our bodies called DNA. So our DNA is an expression of the soul codes. And the soul codes just are the story of our soul history. So in a sense, we've got two kinds of DNA. We've got our genetic DNA in our bodies, which represents our family history, of our genealogy, as it were. And it's an expression of the genetic DNA that's been handed down from one generation to the other into this soul body, into this physical body that is surrounded by a soul body. Now, there's another form of DNA that we hold in our bodies, and it's called junk DNA. And science here is only beginning to understand what junk DNA. But junk DNA is the corresponding DNA to our soul codes. And like our genetic history holds the memory in our bodies of our genetic history, so the junk DNA holds the memory of our soul history. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if you can grasp that, but it's
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So our soul codes, as we evolve, so we've got these soul codes, but it's like we activate them. And in our bodies, we have something called biophotons, which are lights that surround every cell in our body. Okay, and those biophotons is as we activate our cell codes, so it activates more biophotons in our bodies. So that is what is really called the light body. The light body is the biophotonic field that we represent, but we can't see with our eyes. But they have now special cameras. There's a guy called Dr. Fritz Albert Popp, who invented a way to actually photograph biophotons surrounding cells. And he's developed a very interesting science around the biophotonic energy, he calls it, where he believes he can heal any disease through this biophotonic energy. You know, and it's just one of the many technologies that have been hidden from this planet, you know, so that we don't actually understand this. But our bodies are healing machines. And when by doing activation of our DNA by running higher frequencies in through our soul bodies, we're activating more biophotonic energy in our physical bodies. And that helps us to ward off any kind of sicknesses and diseases. It's quite complex stuff, but really, if one has an open mind and just understands that we are not just physical bodies. Unfortunately, people here have been indoctrinated with this notion that they are physical bodies, and that's just where their identity comes from. And that was all part of the control system that the fallen ones introduced here to strip us of our true identity and to give us an identity that is not really us, and not really who we are.
Well,
Right.
on that subject, I can see why they're calling our so-called in our DNA junk, because they don't want us to discover that.
Yeah, they, you know, they've been hiding all this information from us for a long time, and you know, it's out there in the internet. You know, my higher selves taught me the stuff before I found it on the internet. But you know, there's so much to actually learn about it. You know, but the basis of understanding is to understand that the universe is just a field of energy, currents that spiral round and round and round and round, and they come from somewhere and go, and they're cyclical. They go through cycles, and each cycle is an ascension cycle. And after each cycle around, like we go around the galactic plane, our sun goes around the galactic plane, and after about 26,000 years, an ascension cycle occurs where beings who've earned enough have activated sufficient light codes in their soul bodies and therefore activated more DNA in their physical bodies, are able to move into a higher dimension. And a dimension is just a higher frequency band.
So, Colin, what could help us activate our soul codes even more? I'm sure there's lots of things, but I would like help with that.
It's really to think and feel the highest expression of who you possibly can be, and the converse of that is to try to stay away from negative energies and negative thinking, because what people do, they feel positive for a while, then they go into a group of people who make them feel, you know, negative and down and, you know, depressed. and then so they self-sabotage. And what I had to do as a grid worker in 2006, it was explained to me how this worked. And so in order to run the highest possible frequencies in my soul body, I had to live a fairly cloistered life and avoid being in high electromagnetic fields like malls, and try to make sure that I don't have too much electrical magnetic energies things running around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a computer or anything. I switched all the electricity off and tried to run as very little electricity as I could. I used gas for cooking. And, I spent 8 years like that. And I only had 2 really good friends that I ever went and visited, had coffee with. We had a weekly coffee or lunch together. And they were very positive, high energy people and very loving and kind people. So I enjoyed their company. And I tried to avoid people who were negative, So it made me fairly isolated, but that was part of what the work that I was doing at the time was, trying to run the highest frequencies that I possibly could. But since 2014, when I told our good keeping work had been successful and we were now, I was then commissioned to go tell everybody. And I had no idea how to do that. So I've since then, I mix a bit more with people. I go out a bit more, or have been going out a bit more. But like this last 10 days, I've just stayed at home and just been very happy to think my own thoughts and, to express my emotions and I also do a lot of self-examination at that time. And how am I feeling? What am I feeling? What's running through my memories? And if I have bad memories of events of the past, then I go back and deal with them, and reconstruct them and say to myself, it's all right, I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry, thank you, and let's carry on. So it's important to heal aspects of your past, but not to dwell in the past. Your dwelling place should be in the present. But you can deal with the past, but you might have to deal with it from your present moment. You can't go back into the past and relive the experience and feel those feelings and think those thoughts that you thought then. You have to acknowledge that you did think those thoughts and have those feelings, but you can forgive yourself for doing that because nobody's perfect.
Great.
Could I add to that? Could I add to that?
Yeah, sure, Neil.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to interrupt anybody. I guess from my experience, everybody, Darlis, you had a question, really good question. It's an inner journey, inside job. What Colin said about that solitude is, again, in my experience, was crucial. I know it's very different. I was fortunate in that I had, I guess, the financial resources and the ability to kind of not have to go to work, and a lot of time where I was just basically alone and doing a lot of self-reflection, inner work. Same time, a lot of research, and basically on a quest for a number of years. It's just like Source afforded me that opportunity, but building again on what Colin was saying of that inner work, the healing aspect was huge for me. I was fortunate enough to get involved with some shamanic training regarding self-healing, and I was exposed to Ho'oponopono at that time. I know that was brought up in Jeff and Colin's course. In my experience, that's the most efficient and effective way to clear wounds. It's in my experience, it's been identifying the wound was the trick. It's like core wounding and it's just putting a label on it, really, and it's, just a couple examples of mine. One was vulnerability, abandonment, like very general terms, but it seemed to cover feelings that I recognized as repetitive experiences in my life. I'll give an example of the abandonment. In my younger years, I didn't date a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot of girlfriends, but the ones that I had, I really fell hard. And I was hot and heavy, and usually what would end up happening is I'd get jealous, and clingy, and I'd end up scaring them away. I'd be abandoned. I was abandoned over and over. What the hell is going on here? And I really love them, and blah blah blah. But it's just like I've noticed repetitive patterns. The universe just keeps reflecting back to us repetitive experiences that are not pleasant, but they point to wounding that needs to be looked at, whatever that might be for each individual. So I really believe that is so important, that inner work. Taming of our ego, that's a huge one. It's just, we're all very passionate, but I guess it's just letting everyone really feel that they're contributing and not having to be right. A big one as well was getting, basically it's, so many people talk about heart consciousness or being in the heart. Well, from my experience, that is the biggest one. And that involves basically being in the moment. When you're in your heart, you're in the moment. There's no mind chatter going on. It's getting out of the mind where that monkey mind's going on, and it really gives you clarity. And that's tricky. Getting there is, I guess, initially, maybe some meditation where you can, know what that feeling is to be out of your mind, and, through breath work, whatever. And then just basically being, walking meditation as you do your day-to-day business.
Yeah.
I found that I'm in heaven when there's nothing going on in my head. It's just like perfect. It's where I want to be all the time. And it seems that's where our higher self likes to be as well. But I'll be really quick in finishing off. I feel my higher self is anchored more than ever before, and it's had to do with a lot of things. One was, let's call it shadow work. I had some, throughout my life, just issues with, substance abuse. The last one on me was drinking. Wasn't a hardcore alcoholic or anything, but it was a problem. And I, about 6 months ago, finally gave that up. And, I had been on this, this quest for, being pretty much fully awake for the last 7 years or so. I don't think the time so much is the big thing. It's the quality of work we do. But that was a monkey on my back. And once I got rid of that, and I, knock on wood here, I'm not tempted or anything. I don't want to go back there, but it's these clearing these wounds, the shadow aspects, the being in the heart, that really, in my experience, has brought that, upgrade of soul codes. I call it basically anchoring of higher self, and that's, I just wanted to add that. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. That was great. Yeah, in my experience, one shouldn't dwell too much in healing the shadows in the past, but rather to run positive energies, because the shadows exist because there's no light. So if you bring more light into your life, it will expose all those things and clear the shadows in your energy fields. Yeah. So just one needs to do both. You need a good balance of both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like I've had a head start. I feel very fortunate. I've been on this journey for nearly 30 years. I too, I guess we had that in common, is that I too was a substance abuser since the age of 12. And I got clean. I'm coming up on my 30-year anniversary. And so recovery really always taught us that, and I teach others this now, is, you know, to really do all that self-reflection. But what I don't like about the 12-step program, there's really not a way for a lot of self-love. And so I have really focused on that self-love, teaching myself that I'm not this body, I'm a soul being. I spend a lot of alone time, and at the same time, locally, I've gathered tribe around me that are awakened, that we have each other, which I think this time is really important to have community. And so I've been really fortunate with all of that. So, you know, I know I'm on the right track. It's like I just keep wanting to go deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you have had a head start on the rest of us.
Colin,
Yeah, it doesn't. Go ahead. Sorry, Louise.
Thank you. Colin, I wanted to ask you, are you aware of what's going on in the US with the blowing up transformers and the blue in the skies here? And if you are, do you know anything about what this is?
Yeah, just before Christmas, I was given some information. I don't want to go into too much detail because it can be traumatic to know this stuff. But I understand it, you know, from there is a war going on between our soul family, you know, and
I knew it. I knew it. There's a war in the skies in there. That's what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to know that. That's important for me to know that. So it doesn't scare me. I just hop into warrior mode. Okay.
Yeah. And what the fallen ones have been trying to do, the on-planetary, because the off-planetary guys have gone. They've been invited to go somewhere else and have been given refuge and sanctuary in another time-space continuum. But we still have a large number. I mean, I wouldn't like to put a percentage, but my own feeling is it's about 30% of this planet are dark people. People who've been involved in Satanism and satanic rituals, and they really are dark forces here, both at the very high level and also at the lower levels. It goes right through society. But what they were trying to do just before Christmas, they were trying to do this through the parallel reality fields.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were trying to do is to change the timelines that we were on. And this involves fairly advanced technology, but basically it just was about the changing the frequencies on the planet and creating as much trauma on the planet as they could, which would bring the energies of the planet down, because the energies of the planet are rising quite significantly. And the dark forces realized that, and they worried about that, because as the energy of the planets and soul beings are raised, so it raises the consciousness of the people on the planet. And this is, been purposely done by our soul families. And it's also part of a natural ascension cycle. You know, the energies that come in, they're coming naturally through the ascension cycle. So they've been working through these technologies to try to stop the fallen ones from using directed energy weapons, which they weren't successful in California. They used them there. But they've been trying all over the world. They had a program of elimination of key people in the awakened alternative community using psychotronic attacks. But psychotronic attacks are very expensive for them to do, so they have to, once they set up attack, they've got to eliminate at least 10 or 12 people, because it's too expensive for them to do it on an individual basis. But they were trying to set up these psychotronic weapons, and our soul family, have been working with various groups on the planet, there's an off-planetary group called the Guardian Alliance, and there's an on-planetary group who also go by the name of the Alliance. And these alliance groups were aware of what was going on, and they were doing their best just through consciousness, really. There are no physical attacks or physical weapons, but just through consciousness, but also preventing them from getting access to certain waves, controlling the waves. And one of the ways they control the waves, well, there's several ways they control the waves, is through radio, television, mobile phones, 5G, electricity. They pulse energy through electricity. Yeah, and by doing this pulsing through the electrical system, they can affect our heart rate, they can affect our breathing. So there are lots of ways that they try to affect us, but and the reason they're setting up all these networks of control and weapons really is they hope to create a kind of a mass extinction of the people on the planet, and so yeah, we have to work very hard against that. And so just before Christmas, I was asked to go do a lot of grid work. And just, meditation and holding the energies into the planetary grids. But yeah, there's a war going on, but I think we're likely to see in the next 6 months an acceleration of the war between the Democrats and the Republicans, and Trump and the leftists. And not all Democrats are leftist socialists, but the leftist socialist faction of the Democratic Party are where the satanic beings are operating from in the political field.
Thank you for that. I had a feeling that was going on. I really did. And when I saw those, I said, there's a war going on up there. They're fighting. Okay.
Can I ask a quick one, Colin, building on that?
Yeah, sure.
And anyone else that might want to, contribute to this question. Well, any particular view on the role of duality and its effects on the hologram, both in manifesting, basically when there's something to fight against, that just empowers that within the hologram, as well as it binds our consciousness to, I'll just call it the shit show. I think that's a good term for 3D, BS, the false matrix insert, whatever you want to call it. But what would be your view on duality and in my opinion, the very big need to overcome that that participating in duality? And I'm very aware of what's going on with the cabal, and that's all that stuff. It's all about lowering vibration and fear and everything, because that's what keeps one's consciousness tied to the shit show. Yeah. And I'll say this as well, because it's just while I'm, because I'll shut up after this, is I really felt over the solstice period that 5D, I just call it New Earth anchored overlay. It's faint, but I can sense it's stronger than ever before, man. And I'm tuned into it. It's here.
Yeah.
And it's just about keeping the high vibe. So anyways, thank you.
Yeah, I also heard from my higher selves about 5G, because although may have some negative effects, can also be used as a very positive thing as well. Because
no, I wasn't talking about 5G, Colin. I was talking about 5D, like New Earth 5D. Nothing to do with 5G. Just,
okay.
And then the duality aspect. Those are the two main things I was hoping you could maybe.
Yeah,
your feelings on.
Duality really exists everywhere in the universe, but duality as we know it here is that we've been purposely kept in low vibration mode. So we, in effect, experience more negativity, and it has a bigger effect on us than positivity. So raising one's frequencies and thinking and feeling your highest possibilities and probabilities will take you out of this low frequency field and into a higher frequency field, so that you don't have the same experience of duality that other people have. You know, I don't really experience much duality in my life at all, because I've just raised frequencies, and you know, and if other people want to be in low frequency mode, that's their, you know, business. It's got nothing to do with me. They're sovereign beings, and they have to take responsibility for themselves. But it doesn't affect me in any way. Yeah. So the dualities, people think of it as good and bad, but I tend to think of dualities, the level of frequency that you run in your soul body. And that frequency is, the lower frequencies are the lower thought forms, like jealousy, revenge, greed, immorality, you know, thinking one thing and then doing another, or saying one thing and doing another. All those kind of, we create our own duality. But when we are able to go into a higher mode of frequency accretion, we activate our light codes. The light codes activate our biophotons. So we activating our light body, and it really just makes duality irrelevant, because we don't experience that.
Cool. It seems like they want to keep us in duality, and that's why there's a whole lot of this disclosure going on, and they want people pissed off and angry and wanting to fight and battle. And there's always a method. They're tricky dogs, aren't they? You know, so I just wanted to point that out. That's what a big realization I had a while ago, and it's just kind of a bit painful to see so many people. They feel they're, you know, this is all about us beating them. Well, that just keeps one in, you know, in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to keep us in a state of trauma and war and conflict. And we get bombarded with that all the time. You know, I don't, like this last 10 days, I haven't looked at the news, and I have no awareness of what's happening in the world, really. That's not part of my reality, you know, so. But,
well, I hear those birds chirping in the background, Colin. Your bubble hologram sounds beautiful, and I'm sure it is. Mine's pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone else's is.
Yeah. My higher self always used to say to me, look, it's not about getting yourself to heaven, it's about bringing heaven to earth, to yourself.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Will you excuse me for a minute? I've just got to go and have a comfy break first.
Yep.
So you guys should chat amongst yourselves.
Yep.
Good
meeting.
How you feeling, Dallas?
I'm sorry?
How you feeling, Dallas?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Right on.
A little hot.
What about you?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you and Louise are both in Florida. I'm up near Santa Claus.
No, I know where you are. I want to come there. No, I've been wanting to go that way. I do spiritual retreats. So I've always wanted to come up to Lake Louise. I have a couple of different friends that live up that way, and I haven't made it. And I know it's really, really special. It is. There's that, I think they call it the St. Michael's Vortex or something out in Louise, and it's powerful. Yeah. And then I'm really looking at, it just came across the board the other day that I'm really looking at Mount Adams too. I really want to get up that way and go to the ranch. Right. Is that where the SETI ranch there? Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that would be. I think they like that spot because it's high vibration. My experience, we kind of meet them halfway. Our vibration has to be high enough that we can actually interact. So,
Yeah.
that would be cool. I'd love to go there too.
Yep. Louise, where are you in Florida?
I am in Oviedo, which is near Orlando.
Yeah, I know where Oviedo is. I have land in Polk County.
I haven't been here that long. I'm unfamiliar. Where is that?
Polk County is probably about a half an hour south of you.
Oh, well, if you ever come here, let me know, okay?
Yeah. I live in Jupiter, and I've lived in Florida since I was a child, so here a long time.
Yeah, I've only been here since, well, my parents had a house here, so we came here twice a year from St. Louis.
Okay.
But I lived in California for about 25 years.
Where in California?
Southern California and Northern California. Most of my time was in Oceanside, which is in San Diego.
Yeah, I know Oceanside. Yep. Yeah,
I love it.
And where north?
I was in Mountain View and Campbell, and my parents had another house in Mendocino.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, so we went there a lot as well. And I've been to Lake Louise. My daddy took me there, and it was really, really beautiful. I'm so glad he took me there. Yeah. And James Gillian, I've met him several times, and I have not been to his ranch, but
hey, we
that
should
would
get together and go.
that would be fun.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, I have seen the star beings in front of me, so I have encountered them before.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they were the Andromedans.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and I've seen craft before and all that kind of stuff. And Neil, to give you an update on me and the war, I am a warrior, and I look after things here, so I have to know. Huh?
Me too. Okay. Well, I'm a warrior as well.
Yeah. So
peaceful warrior.
I'm a warrior, period. So I do what is needed here, and I make the family aware, because we think that the family knows everything that goes on here, and they don't. And so I go and I make them aware of what's going on here and request their help. So that's part of what I do as well. And I also can declare things differently, because from being an original one, we have that power. So I use it on behalf of humanity, because I can be sitting here in my peaceful little world while I watch my friends decimate and things happen to them. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with the starving children, even though I got a plate full. I'm not okay with any of it. So I speak on behalf of not only humanity, the inhabitants of Earth, every one of them here. Yeah.
Great work, Louise. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
you too.
Respect.
You too. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was given access to a divine realm where it's a meeting place for the higher dimensional ones, where I can go from Earth here and meet them there. And so we gather, and I've been doing that for years, and it's interesting because there are other places like ours that are going through things too. So they like to come to listen to see what the earthlings are doing to resolve things. And it's really incredible, and it just continues to open and open and open. And so my next step is physically going there in a way, somehow, some way. I'm not stopping till I open the bridge to get to this realm, and then show others the way. And in fact, I work with it in crossovers. So what I've seen when people, cross over, they leave their form, they go to another side that, Earth is Earth existence is dysfunctional. Well, we think that the other side isn't dysfunctional. Well, it is. So instead of them having to go to the other side, I take them to the realm.
Nice.
And I've been able to do that. And I assign guardians to them. And so the guardians stay with them. And I double check it all. You know, I double check all this. I'll take others with me and we'll ask questions and I'll be quiet and let them hear it. And then we go over it. So I check, double check, triple check, everything else to make sure. And what they say, well, you know, when you've got beings with you and you don't want for anything, I'm doing just fine. And what the other cool thing about the realm is they can go back to their planet of origin. So, and they get rehabilitation, and the rehabilitation takes them back to their origin, to who they are, and helps them remember. And yeah, I've got a whole system. It was just natural because I had access there, and then people would cross over and they'd come to me because they aren't allowed around me. I don't promote myself as a medium because I don't want that all around me. So they're really not allowed. So, but family and ones that are in my heart, which humanity is in my heart, but certain ones have come to me and they're like, help me. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And they're like, you know, Louise, you know, all right, I'll take you. And it just started happening. And it happened and evolved and evolved. And I said, all right. You know, like in the ancient days, like even Shiva had an avatar, and this avatar took people to liberation. And Egypt, they had those that helped cross people over. Same thing. We're back again. We're here to help people cross over.
Nice.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, people often imagine that, you know, other high dimensional space-time continuum and planets don't have the same similar problems to what we have here. But they exist throughout the universe, you know, so if we can learn to deal with it here, we'll be better equipped to deal with it when we ascend into a higher planet, because these fallen ones don't go away. They're all over the universe, and they're just beings who you know, who've decided to extract themselves from the universal energy systems, so that because they can't flow with natural universal energy, they have to go and create their own energy fields. And they do it by taking over planets and feeding off the energy of other beings. So, and they're all over.
Parasite.
Yeah. They are parasites. Yeah. They're vampires, yeah.
And we are not in agreement.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what, you know, it's a big thing. People don't realize they have a soul contract. And we have an agreement, but what we've agreed to is we've implicitly agreed. We haven't complicitly agreed. So we go through our lives, most people go through their lives implicitly agreeing to what they've been dished up here. And so they don't understand that when you awaken, you have to have a new agreement, and you have to start, you know, making those agreements with yourself. I no longer accept this. I revoke all past contracts. And this is the agreements. These are the agreements that I hold with myself. And I made a long list of many years ago of the things that I would do. And one of the agreements I came to was that I would live by the mantra that anything less than love would not be acceptable. So then I began to eliminate anything in my life that wherever I saw anger and fear and whatever, I would say to people, look, don't do that here, go somewhere else. If you want to be in my space, I am a loving person, caring person, and that's what I want to experience. That is my agreement, my contract with myself. And if that is your contract with yourself to express fear and anger and nastiness, go do it somewhere else. and once I did that with all my friends, once I'd made this new contract, and I had, you know, when I woke up, I had a lot of friends. And one by one, they kind of just drifted off because, you know, they thought I'd gone crazy. But whenever they can, every now and again, they drift back into my life and, you know, try to cause trouble and, you know, give me their stories of woes and problems and with their wives and their family and their work situations. And I would say to them, look, you know, I'm really not interested in that stuff anymore. You know? Sorry, you know, I love you and I want the best for you. And if you don't want the best for you, then that's not my problem. That's your problem. And you must deal with it. You know? So just eliminating, having new contracts with yourself about how you, about the experiences you would like to have on this planet is very important.
For sure.
Agree.
Well, I got to roll, guys. I wanted to say really quickly, Happy New Earth year 1. It's really a pleasure to be in this meeting. Colin, I really appreciate our friendship. I look forward to getting to be closer with anybody that participates. Hope you make it up to the Calgary area, Darla. So I'll do everything I can to help you when you land here. And you know, I respect your what you do, Louise. You know, it's very important. You know, the strong need to defend. So deep respect, okay? And Colin, I just wish you the best with your move. And I love everyone that participates here. And just very grateful for this connection. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Dallas, Louise, Neil.
Yes.
Thanks for coming and having coffee with me. It's been great meeting with you guys again. Much love and respect to you all.
Okay.
And we'll see you next Sunday.
Okay, see you Monday.
Colin, are you having the chat with Carrie today?
No.
Okay.
Kerry's just bought a new computer and somehow this week it crashed. So she's trying to get her computer working again.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I just wanted to know so I could arrange my day. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
See you
Thanks,
all.
guys.
Thank you.
Love you all. Bye.
Love
Much
you.
love. Bye.